Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be together with you all. Just to let you know, I'll remind you again at the end, but just to mention, there won't be Satsang tomorrow. I'm going to Delhi for the day, but we'll be together again day after tomorrow. So actually, are they here? No, there was somebody who had a question I had promised them we'd start with, but they're not here. Will you do me a favor? Have Karuna find the group that was here last night, because they had questions that we promised we would start with. So we start usually with a question that comes from our online audience, our family joining us through the gift of the internet. And then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here has. There's a microphone here in the middle. So just if you have any question, feel free to come up to the mic and ask it. But starting with one that's come in advance. I left my home 10 days ago, and I have been roaming here to find peace. I have no mother or father, and my sisters are living in fear with their husbands. I'm depressed because of my job. Please guide me on what to do. This is asked by Rahi from Delhi. When everything's going well in our life, when we're surrounded by our family, everything's going well with the family, when everything's going well in our job, when our health is good, it's very few people who in a situation like that turn very intensely to spirituality. We turn to spirituality much more when things go wrong. Now, in an ideal world, in a perfect world, even in the midst of everything being perfect, we would recognize that there was something missing. Yes, family is there. Yes, job is there. Yes, money is there. Yes, social life is there. But we would intuitively notice that something deeper was missing. And some people do, but very few, very blessed few. Most people tend not to notice it until kind of the end of life, when they look back and they're like, did I miss something? Was there something really important I missed? For most of us, before the end of our life, what brings us onto a spiritual path is a sense of loss, pain, struggle, trauma, a whole variety of different manifestations of that. But something happens in our life that makes us look more deeply. And in this case, miserable job, no mother or father, no deep relationship with her sisters because they're living in just fear of their husbands. You take that as kind of a divine calling to look within. As long as we've got the mom in place, the dad in place, the other family members in place, good job. So you might not necessarily ever make it to Rishikesh. You might end up, in Goa instead, or Paris instead. Be thankful for those challenges that send you on a spiritual path. Look in, look in, look in. It's a message, it's a teaching. Don't depend on someone else. Go within, go within, go within. Let go of the attachments, let go of the trappings. Go within, go within. So I'm sorry to hear about the circumstances you're in, but I'm also happy to hear about them. There's a beautiful story of this saint, this female saint, who had this gift of being able to cure any kind of physical ailment, injury, leprosy, and just like the worst illnesses. She would just kiss them and they would get better. And these lepers with just oozing wounds would come to her every day, and she would kiss them and heal them. But she always left one wound unfixed. And one day one of her disciples said, why do you do that when you have this gift to cure them completely? Why do you always leave that one wound, that one pain? And she said, because that one wound will keep them calling out to God. So whatever your wound is, whether it's a physical wound, an emotional wound, an experiential wound, that is your calling out to God. It's like where there is a crack in the vase, in the pot, it's through that crack that the light streams through. That break is what enables light to shine through. So in the places that you feel broken, honor them, celebrate them, allow them to be the places that divine light shines through. And you're in the right place, you've come to the right place. Sit on the banks of Ganga. You're already listening to satsang. Come to the Aarti, do the yagna, come to yoga, meditation, all of that. And allow yourself to find an internal strength. Since the universe seems to have taken everything external away from you, it means you're supposed to go within. Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful question. Other questions that anyone here has? Yeah, any question? I know it always takes courage to be the first one to ask, and then, yes, come please.
Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha. Sadhvi Bhagawati, I'm honored blessed to be here because of that artificial foot cap.
Yes.
I got that fixed in July from Calcutta.
Yes.
And it was on your birthday last year. I told you it's your birthday and I'm getting gifts. I'm a trainer for soft skills, and then when we are in some training sessions, we are in sessions like this, our battery is charged, but once we move out from that aura, that's the end of the day. Means how we can permanently
stay charged. Yes. Great, great. So it's a two-part question. I mean, it's a two-part answer.
Can I say?
Yes, of course, please, please. आप यहाँ नज़दीक बैठिएगा. So he said, you know, when we're here in the sessions, we feel so charged, our batteries are charged, and then we go out and the batteries dissipate. How do we stay charged? So first of all, don't feel badly if you notice a discharge in your spiritual batteries. The farther you are from a holy place, the longer it's been since you've been in satsang, been in Aarti. It's natural. It's why the saints and the sages have been telling us for thousands of years, go for spiritual pilgrimage, go to the holy places, go to the tirthas. Why? To charge our batteries. And this isn't only in the Hindu tradition. This is in every tradition in the world. Every religious tradition in the world has spiritual pilgrimages, holy places that people are told to go to, ashrams, mandirs, churches, mosques, synagogues, gurdwaras, retreat centers. Why? Because they charge our batteries. It would be like saying, you know, I eat breakfast, I feel really full, it's great. And then, God, you know, like 4 or 5 hours later, I'm hungry again. How can I eat breakfast and stay full? Well, the body wasn't created like that. 4 or 5 hours after you have a good meal, you're going to be hungry. You can fast for a short period of time, but you're going to feel hungry. The fullness dissipates. Spiritual fullness, fortunately, does not dissipate nearly as quickly, and there actually are tools to hold on to it, but recognize that it's natural for that power, that fullness that you experience physically, spiritually, to dissipate over time. And it's why you keep coming back. It's why you keep coming back. It's why it's so important to come back. Because we keep getting recharged. We get recharged. We go out into the world. We forget. We come back. We come back. Everything needs a recharge. The mobile needs a recharge. I mean, whatever we use needs a recharge. These microphones, we got to recharge them. Batteries recharge. Everything needs a recharge. So don't feel badly that you also need a recharge. That being said, there are ways to live each day so that the batteries don't get completely down. Our practices of meditation, our practices of prayer, our practices of seva, service, karma yoga, these are ways to stay charged. Reading the scriptures, doing japa. These are ways to stay charged. And you can do them every day. So when you go back, instead of just allowing the batteries to dissipate completely, make sure that you have a daily practice that keeps you recharged. And anyway, you're still going to want to keep coming back and getting the real powerful charge. But at least it'll keep you charged in the interim, so that it doesn't discharge too quickly. The last piece about that, though, is the more deeply inside of yourself you allow the teachings and the change to go, the more it becomes. And then you don't lose that. And so here, Aarti on the banks of Ganga, allow it to go so deeply inside that it changes you forever. So that wherever you go, whenever you're able to come back, who you are has been forever changed. And then that charge will stay with you always. Great. Yes, and welcome. He was sharing at the very beginning before he asked his question that he's been brought here because we've got a free prosthetic limb camp going on. One of the sevas that we perform here at the ashram is the distribution of free prosthetic limbs, hands, arms, legs, to people who don't have them. And we have a camp going on here, but we've also just today inaugurated a mobile van with these brand new machines that are small and mobile and transportable, and that in 2 hours can actually generate the limb rather than waiting days. So he's come as part of that camp, and it's so beautiful to have you here and to be able to have you play the role of recipient so that we can play the role of giver. But we all remember, of course, that we're all just playing divine roles on God's divine stage, and your willingness to play the role of someone who receives lets us play the role of someone who gives. And we dance together in this beautiful, beautiful Leela. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yes, yes, in Uttarkashi, yes. Yes. He's telling about the upcoming camps that we're having next month now in mobile different places up in the Himalayas and other places. Other questions? Yes, please. Can you just speak a little bit? Yeah, there you go, thanks.
Sorry?
More just into the microphone so everyone can hear you.
As the sir says that how we can recharge, you told that we went to temple or any religious places. But my problem is when I went to any Kirtan or religious places, my soul feels, when the Kirtan starts, even I was in the Aarti, the whole body was feeling goosebumps. And after that, my soul feels very emotional. Even sometimes I start weeping or crying. Why it's so?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. If you've never cried while singing your love for God, or you've never cried while reading scripture or reading sacred poetry or singing or listening to sacred holy music, you've missed something. You should try to cultivate that. It's a beautiful experience. Tears are the way that so many of us experience very, very deep, or express rather, very deep emotions. It means your heart's been opened. Most of the time our hearts are closed. It's why we don't cry. We walk by starving people, we walk by homeless people, we don't cry. We see people cutting down trees, throwing trash in the rivers, we don't cry. But when your heart gets opened, you cry. We should cry. So having the heart open is beautiful, and having the heart open for God is the most beautiful. Having those tears flow in love for the divine is a very great blessing. You know, I always say that the tears are washing our eyes so that we can see. So tears flow, it's great, you know. So many times you'll start to cry and people will come and they'll, you know, mop up your tears. Oh, don't cry, don't cry. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. If we weren't meant to cry, God wouldn't have given us tear ducts. They clean your eyes. Literally, I mean, the physical tears literally clean your eyes. But when you're crying in love for God, it's cleaning not only your physical cornea, not just the lens of the eye outside, but it's actually cleaning your vision. It's actually purifying your vision. So it's a great blessing. Beautiful. Any other questions?
माता जी के चरणों में कोटि कोटि प्रणाम। माता जी, हम सब लोग भौतिक प्रगति के लिए हमेशा पूछे जाते हैं कि भौतिक प्रगति कैसी हो रही है, कार ली नहीं ली, घर लिया या नहीं लिया। इवन बचपन में भी हम लोगों से पूछा जाता है बड़े होके क्या बनोगे। लेकिन जब मैं सोचता हूँ आध्यात्मिक प्रगति या स्पिरिचुअल प्रोग्रेस के लिए ना तो हमें प्रेरित किया जाता है और ना हमसे पूछा जाता है कि स्पिरिचुअल प्रोग्रेस कैसी चल रही है, भगवान का नाम ले रहे हो नहीं ले रहे हो, कीर्तन में जा रहे हो नहीं जा रहे हो। तो हम लोगों को बचपन से ऐसा पढ़ाया जाता है कि बड़े होके क्या बनोगे, लेकिन कभी ये नहीं पूछा जाता बड़े होके भगवान की सेवा कैसे करोगे। तो मतलब ये क्वेश्चन बार बार उठता है कि आध्यात्मिक प्रोग्रेस के लिए हम लोग क्या करें और कैसे इसको अपने जीवन में लेके आए।
Beautiful. Spiritual progress is obviously the most important progress. I mean, we need a new definition of success in the world, that it's not just how's your job going, how much money do you have, how big are your biceps, but how's your spiritual progress going? Are you praying? Are you chanting God's name? How's it going? How's your meditation? So, first of all, as a community, as family members of not just our family, but also your own families, we should all remember to ask this of each other, to ask it of your children, ask it of your grandchildren, ask it of your friends. Not just, hey, how's school going? How's football going? Did you make any goals? But how's your meditation? Are you chanting God's name? Are you doing prayers? It's a beautiful, beautiful reminder for that. And the best way to progress spiritually is to ask yourself, as I was mentioning in the Aarti, to ask yourself this question rather than what for me, what through me. How can I be a channel for the divine grace? We're not meant to be a bucket and just keep collecting things. We're meant to be a channel for God's divine grace here on earth. And here's why it's such a beautiful way to progress. Because as you serve as this channel, you are the first beneficiary. Long before God's grace flows through me onto others, it's flowing into me, as me, through me. I am benefiting. If I'm going to share love with people, well, I've got to generate that love in me first, which means I'm the first beneficiary of that love. If I want to share peace, well, I have to create peace inside of me first. You can't share something you don't have. So again, I'm the first beneficiary. So if you think about your life's goal as what through me, how can I share God's grace, love, peace? Well, you're going to progress because you will be an instrument in God's hands. But you will also progress because inside of you will be filled with grace and love and peace and divine flow and an intention to receive, to channel, to create, and to share. And that's the best way to progress. And the last piece of that is, in order for your channel to be effective, it has to be empty. If a channel is full of stuff, it's not going to work, right? If your blood vessels are full of plaque and cholesterol, blood can't flow through them. That's why people have heart attacks. It's not that we don't have blood, we've got great blood. It's that it can't flow through the blood vessel, through the channel, because the channel is clogged with plaque. And that's why, in order to prevent heart attacks, they don't do anything to the blood. They clean the blood vessel. They remove the plaque. In the same way, on a spiritual level, you've got to remove the junk inside of us, our ego, our attachments, our expectations, our stories, our desires, our aversions, all of that. That's what clogs up our internal channel. So if being a perfect channel becomes your aim and your goal, then it means you've got to stay clear, so you become free of all of not self, all of falsehood. You become this first beneficiary of the experience of grace, and you serve as an instrument. So it's a win-win-win way of walking and progressing on a spiritual path. Beautiful. Have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your evening. As I mentioned, we will not be having satsang tomorrow. I will be in Delhi, but I will be back for the day after. So no satsang on 16th, yes satsang back on 17th. And so much love to you all.